This is the L2C Media Network, and this is the L2C Sports Final, brought to you by the L2C Media Network. Now, with the latest sports headlines and details, here's our host, Steve the Baxman Baxley. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, one and all to the Coursing and Ball. That's right. And, clean this up. Harry Von Stute has a night off. Our announcer this night is, of course, our announcer on the radio show on Spreaker. Of course, I speak of our good man, our good friend, Mr. Magnetism himself, Franklin Pangborn. Franklin, good job as always. Okay, folks. I want to dedicate this to the people of the city of Chicago and to those who, those family, friends of those who had their lives snuffed out this weekend. 75 people died in Chicago. Their mayor was just sitting on her butt having a little tussle with the prez. Yeah, this mayor really cares, doesn't she? Anyway, to the people of Chicago, don't worry. There will be some sort of a golden rainbow on its way. Let there be no more bloodshed, especially of little children, adults, and the elderly. Stay safe, Chicago. The lunatics have taken over. And I think you know who they are. Anyway, let's bring you something happy, something snappy, and something good. It just happens to be good folks of sports. Yes, sports are returning. That's right. Let's give you some action from the NBA. Not just action, but some news from the NBA. And Patrick Beverley has left the Disney bubble to attend to a personal emergency, according to ESPN's Malika Andrews. Beverley plans to return to the Clippers whenever possible. Beverley is the second prominent Clipper to have left the bubble after Montrezl Harrell also did so to attend a family matter. It's not been my day today. Zion Williamson was the first notable NBA player to leave the bubble after going through the quarantine period. He too had a family matter to attend to. Clippers are short quite a bit of depth at the moment. In addition to Harrell and Beverley being absent, starting center Ivica Zubac is not known to be in Orlando, when the latest round of testing indicated that no players have caught COVID-19 in the bubble over the past week. Teams are still dealing with things that have happened and continue to happen outside of the bubble. Teams like Clippers and Denver Nuggets are still at considerably less than full strength. And while the nature of those personal emergencies is not yet known, the threat of coronavirus on family members outside the bubble still looms as a reason for players to leave. Clippers are at least fortunate in that they are one of the deeper teams in the NBA. Just before the pandemic, they signed former Detroit Piston point guard Reggie Jackson after he received a buyout. Jackson figures to pick up many of the minutes Beverley is surrendering by leaving, and while Beverley's return may change his role, the silver lining in his absence is that gives Clippers a chance to see how Jackson fits in with the remainder of their roster. Sixth Man of the Year candidate Lou Williams could also see his role expanded. Clippers are set to take on the LA Lakers in their first game back on July 30th. The Lakers, like the Clippers, are missing a number of rotation players as Avery Bradley opted out of playing in Orlando, while Rajon Rondo broke his thumb at a recent practice. That could be the norm in the early going in Orlando. Few teams are at full strength as the season is set to restart. We'll keep you updated on the show. Let's go to college football.
Twitter announced today that it will step up enforcement against activity and
Here we go. Boom. In the class of 2021 is staying home. 5-star prospect James Williams, number 1 athlete, and number 9 overall player in the upcoming recruiting class, committed to Miami, Florida on Tuesday over Georgia. Williams wrote on Twitter, "I would like to thank everybody who's been there for me in my life, and mainly thank the man above for giving me the skills and the people around me to help to get to where I have to be and feed my family. Also, I'd like to thank all the high schools that pushed me to be great in the classroom. Next, I want to thank all the schools that gave me an opportunity to play for their college. For that being said, I will announce that I will not be leaving the Sunshine State of Florida and shutting down my recruitment, and I will be signing to the University of Miami." Now, Williams is a 6-foot multi-dimensional star who was compared to former Clemson star and current Arizona Cardinals rookie Isaiah Simmons by 24/7 Sports Director of Scouting Barton Simmons. Williams is the 19th commitment in Miami's upcoming recruiting class. The Hurricanes currently rank number 11 overall and number 3 in the ACC in the updated 24/7 Sports Composite rankings. Not bad, eh? Not bad, A, B, C, or D. Excuse me. In more college football news, here we go. All season. But there's no outrunning backlash on social media. The Oklahoma State star running back mentioned on his Twitter account that he has taken a break from social media following another round of tweets that apparently ignited more backlash in his actions. In a Tuesday post, Hubbard said he would be stepping away from his social media platforms until further notice, after he noticed his accounts had become a playground for hate. "I have never incited or promoted violence or hate. All I've done is voice my opinion on issues that I feel are not ethical. I love all, even those that don't see eye to eye with me. I will continue to play football at the highest level, but I also won't stop pushing for what I believe is right." The backlash Hubbard is facing appears to stem from a string of since-deleted tweets calling for the resignation of Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater after protesters were arrested at his office in Oklahoma City. According to the Oklahoman, 7 protesters were arrested for trespassing after staging a sit-in at Prater's lobby and refusing to leave at closing time. The protesters were upset with Prater's decision to clear Edmond, Oklahoma police officers who fatally shot a 17-year-old black teenager, Isaiah Lewis, last year. And this is not the first time Hubbard's social media account has come under fire. In June, Hubbard essentially threatened to boycott the 2020 season after a picture on Twitter showed Cowboys coach Mike Gundy wearing a One American News Network t-shirt on a fishing trip. One American News is a far right-wing outlet that has been critical of the Black Lives Matter movement. Hubbard said, "I will not stand for this. This is completely insensitive to everything going on in society, and it's unacceptable. I will not be doing anything with Oklahoma State until things change." Hubbard and Gundy later came to an agreement through another video shared on Twitter, with the coach later promising change within the program, while Hubbard apologized for taking to social media to voice his displeasure.
I'm very hopeful we can get it over the finish line and get it signed by the 10th. Iowa GOP Senator Joni Ernst says the Senate plans to vote on a nearly.
And the NBA. Oh, you're going to love this.
Washington, Raquel Martin, News. Well, obviously, sports, it's been a long time since when we've been able to say this, right? Baseball is back in.
Kevin Garnett is exploring a potential purchase of the Minnesota Timberwolves with a group of investors, according to the Athletic's Shams Charania. Current Timberwolves owner Glenn Taylor to Athletic's John Krasinski that he is exploring several options as far as possibly selling his team. Taylor has owned the Timberwolves since 1994, representing the vast majority of their existence. Minnesota Viking owner Ziggy Wilf is also a serious candidate by the team, according to ESPN's own Little Visigoth, Adam Schefter. Now, Garnett has expressed interest in potentially owning the Timberwolves, the first and last NBA team he's ever played for. Garnett told Mark Spears in 2014, "I want to buy the Timberwolves, put a group together, and perhaps someday try to buy the team. That's what I want." Simmering acrimony between Garnett and Taylor in recent years has threatened that dream, however. Garnett has expressed interest in taking on a bigger role in Minnesota's basketball operations upon his retirement, but the team's hiring of Tom Thibodeau as head coach and president of basketball operations ended any chance of that happening. Garnett told Krasinski in 2017, "I love those young guys. I told Tibbs I want to work with him, but obviously me and Glenn don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that's how it's going to be." The Minnesota job that Thibodeau took was only available due to the premature death of former coach and head of basketball operations Flip Saunders, who at the time did not have a banner at the Target Center that bothered Garnett. He said, "I thought he wasn't celebrated the proper way. You have high school banners, you have bleeping hockey banners hanging in the rafters. You couldn't put a Flip banner in Target Center someplace that we helped build, reestablish that market. I helped grow that with him. You can't put him in the rafters." The Timberwolves gave Saunders a banner in 2018. His son now coaches the team, but Garnett's relationship with the team has never recovered. "I don't want to be partners with Glenn Taylor, and I wouldn't want to be partners with Glenn in Minnesota," Garnett told Awful Announcing in 2017. "I would love to be part of a group that buys him out and kind of removes him and go forward." To this day, he has not even allowed the team to retire his jersey number. But the NBA would surely be interested in having Garnett at the helm of the Timberwolves. It currently has only one black governor, Michael Jordan of the Charlotte Hornets. Minneapolis was where George Floyd was killed, and the nation's current reckoning with social justice began. Having a beloved former Timberwolf player like Garnett running the team would be an important step in diversifying the league's largely white leadership, which is an important point in the Players Coalition led by Kyrie Irving and Avery Bradley are fighting for in the NBA's future. For the moment, it's unclear whether Garnett will be the minority owner in such a purchase, though he was the highest ever NBA salary earner during his playing career at the time of his retirement, but still a far cry from the billions that a modern NBA team is worth. Michael Jordan bridged that gap as the most prolific endorser in the history of sports, and LeBron James's extremely diverse portfolio is positioning him to do the same one day. And Garnett's net worth and an investing capacity at the moment is unknown, though he would presumably at the very least be a prominent voice within a potential group if he does not end up as the team's governor. Now, Taylor is still in the early stages of possibly selling his team. There's no guarantee that he does so. Working in Garnett's favor, Taylor vowed to Krasinski not to allow any new owner to move the team. With a limited pool of possible owners, especially during a global pandemic that has likely cut into purchasing power many of them would have had. This could be Garnett's chance to achieve the dream to own the team that drafted him 25 years ago. Stick around. And by the way, baseball is back. We have the lemonade ball. Right, this should be fun. Of course, remember, no. So, huzzah.
Yeah, former Spartan pitcher, and he is also a part of the Locos roster, but he's not going to be dealing on the mound in these games. Instead, he'll be watching from the dugout.
Go to this one.
The team's pitching coach. View has been working his way
The NFL Players Association
ever since he was drafted by the
has made some news. In a call with players on Tuesday evening, the NFLPA has confirmed a number of changes to training camp and the lead up to the 2020 regular season. The union has been negotiating with the NFL. As the two sides continue to construct a feasible foundation to operate amid the pandemic, as initially reported by NFL Network's Tom Pelissero and confirmed by CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones, there are 5 main points of discussion, which includes no preseason games in 2020, no exhibitions this summer has been the stance by the union all along, but the NFL just recently came down from its one-game proposal on Monday and has now suggested no preseason games at all. And by the way, we've just found out through Channel 6, WMU season opener has been canceled. So there you go. Wow. The WMU season opener has been canceled. Salute. So thank you, Channel 6 and Audrey Dahlgren and company and crew. They are here for us. Okay, along with the change, by the way, as we come back to our report, along with that change, Players Association noted the roster sizes for training camp are expected to be set at 80 players to start camp, which is down 10 from the traditional 90-man rosters you typically see under normal circumstances. The union is also pushing for a longer ramp-up period in camp per Pelissero, and there are general agreements on voluntary and high-risk opt-outs, along with an agreement on stipends if games are lost. Now, the last 24 to 48 hours have seen a great deal of movement in the negotiations between the NFL and its Players Association. Along with the NFL proposing no preseason games, the two sides came to an agreement on Monday to conduct daily testing for the first 2 weeks of training camp, which was one of the final major health and safety issues and hurdles that had to be worked out. Huzzah. Sister Montreal. All right.
Just getting the opportunity.
Let's see what else has been going on in the wealth of sports. Well, we're going to bring you more sports, including 20 bold predictions for a shortened MLB season, which is coming up. Rather big, too. Stay tuned. Let's give you what we can, ladies and germs. We give this to you in excitement and galore. Tonight, by the way, Tigers and Cleveland and Cincinnati, would you like to know what happened? Or are you going to find out a little bit later? Right now, let's give you a little promo for one of our sister networks, our sister channels. And yes, friends, tonight on Lost Bleeding the Interwebs with Nick Boom Boom Rakita, it's whiskey review and musings on several subjects, including dynamite, the census, Black Lives Matter, etc., so forth, and so on. Well, you can find out more, including big news in one major lawsuit. Stick around. It's tonight at midnight Eastern, 11 Central, with Nick Rakita, a very humble lawyer from Minnesota, and the Rakita Law Channel, only here on YouTube and nowhere else. That's right. I said that. And I admit it too. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, boy. Excuse me. I just got a yawn here. Boy. I need a bit of a drink, so if you excuse me, I'm going to... I'm going to get a little bit of a. I'm going to take a little bit of a drink here. You don't need to see this on camera. So, you don't mind?
Celebrate community by understanding where we've been, where we're at, and where we'd like to be for the greater good of all. We are family. Yeah, everybody is here. It's the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. Jeep Ram of Lincoln.
Feels good. Okay, get us back on there. Yep. We dropped. There we go. Okay. Let's get back to the reason we're here. Can we get back to the reason we're here? Yes, we can. 21 minutes into the show. So, let's rock and roll, folks. Because it's time for the scoreboard. Oh, actually, not yet. Let's get you updated. Before we go to some of the stories from Awful Announcing, I want to wish get well and best blesses.
Thanks for staying up late with us. Have a good night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
And best blesses to Marielle Lou of Fox 2. Come back strong, sweets. Come back strong. Anyway, let's get going to some more headlines and explanations. And wow, you thought the Washington Redskins had a little trouble. Excuse me, the Washington NFL team had a little trouble. Remember about a couple days ago, we told you that ESPN was in a little hot water for something. For some little no-nos. Well, we got more to report. Actually, our friends at Awful Announcing have more to report on this. And wow. This is rough. The latest ESPN controversy centers around SportsCenter anchor Sage Steele, who has now logged complaints about how she was not chosen for the network's June 24th special, quote, "Time for Change, We Won't Be Defeated," end quote. That special, presented by The Undefeated, ESPN's recently expanded platform covering race, culture, and sports, was billed as, quote, "exploring Black athletes' experiences with injustice," end quote, and was hosted by SportsCenter anchors Ellie Duncan, Michael Eaves, and Jay Harris, and college football reporter and studio host Murray Ayler. Joe Flint of the Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday that Sage Steele claims Duncan and Eaves kept her from participating in this show, and that she complained to ESPN president Jimmy Pitaro about this. Here are some key lines from his piece. Quote, "ESPN anchor Sage Steele has told management she believes she was excluded from a special the network aired on race last month because she wasn't considered by a certain Black colleague to be an authentic voice for the Black community," a person familiar with the matter said. Ms. Steele, one of the network's most prominent on-air personalities, voiced her concerns to ESPN president Jimmy Pitaro in early June, saying the incident showed the network has a divisive work environment, the person said. Ms. Steele said colleagues told her she was considered for the special by the executive in charge, Michael Fountain, until two of the other on-air personalities involved, Ellie Duncan and Michael Eaves, complained. It's L. I thought it was L. Duncan. Ellie Duncan? ELLE. It's L. Duncan. And Michael Eaves complained, saying Ms. Steele wouldn't be accepted by what they considered the Black community, according to the person familiar with her account to management. This has led to a lot of statements from a lot of people. To start with, ESPN disputes the logic here from, quote, "the person familiar with the matter," end quote, with Flint's piece including that, quote, "an ESPN spokesman denied that Ms. Steele wasn't invited to participate in the special because of a campaign by colleagues to undermine her or that her views played any role in Mr. Fountain's decisions," end quote. And Kevin Morita, the ESPN senior vice president and editor-in-chief of The Undefeated, who was heavily quoted in ESPN's release about this special, told Flint, "At The Undefeated, we don't have litmus tests for blackness. ESPN has a tremendous range of black voices, and we've been honored to work with many of them. We had already talked to Sage a number of times about working together and looking forward to that opportunity." Meanwhile, Leaves and Duncan offered a joint statement to Flint. "We wish we had more than an hour to include more of the many strong voices we have at ESPN. However, we are hopeful that this doesn't distract from the important message conveyed that night." And Steele offered her own statement to Flint. Quote, "I found it sad for all of us that any human being should be allowed to define someone's blackness. Growing up biracial in America with a black father and a white mother, I have felt the inequities that many, if not all, black and biracial people have felt. Being called a..." Well, do we have to really say all this? Okay, being called a monkey, the N-word, having ape sounds made as I walk by. Words and actions that all of us know sting forever. Most importantly, trying to define who is and isn't black enough goes against everything we are fighting for in this country. It only creates more of a divide. The exact behind-the-scenes events that led to Steele not being involved in this particular special are not clear. Flint's report is from a person familiar with the matter and only includes the reasons Steele believes she was excluded, with an ESPN spokesman denying those reasons. And there are other possible reasons not to feature Steele on this special. For one, that special would end up going with 4 anchors, which is a lot for any program, and certainly didn't include all of ESPN's black employees. Beyond that, this special was billed as part of the Undefeated's ongoing, unprecedented coverage of the protests and social justice reforms efforts that have come to the forefront following the killings of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Rayshard Brooks. And Steele had made a lot of headlines over the years for her criticisms of very protest, from blasting then Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans in 2016 for his protest during the national anthem, to complaining about airport protests against an executive order banning immigrants from particular countries in 2017. Steele has also complained about the backlash, damn it, can't say that word, backlash she received from those criticisms. So Steele is far from an uncontroversial figure, especially for a special focused on popular protests. Whether she should have been picked or maybe not is ultimately a decision for management to handle. What I should say is maybe ESPN should have opened it up to all, not just some. Well, remember with Sinclair Broadcasting and a little bit of Byron Allen's folk bought the now nameless former Fox Sports regional outlets for a whole lot of money. We knew they were going to have a little trouble. Of course, first off, they can't call it Fox Sports anything because technically Sinclair does not own the name anymore. They will have to rebrand it, which they plan on doing. But now, are they beginning to have some buyer's remorse? For the last 4 months, the idea of sports networks giving rebates for unplayed games has been talked about quite frequently, especially when it comes to those expensive regional sports networks that have no live content, with all the sporting companies from the NBA to MLS all shutting down while the 2020 Major League Baseball season never even began. But as we approach the restart of sports, from baseball to basketball to hockey, with games airing locally on those regional sports networks that still have to have a name, the issue of rebates can be talked about more firmly, especially with Major League Baseball's announced 60-game season. Excuse me if I take another drink on camera this time. More than 50% reduction on the standard 162-game schedule. In fact, one analyst says Sinclair's rebates could exceed the refunds it receives from the teams whose games are broadcast on their RSNs. Wells Fargo's Steve Cahill thinks that the difference between the rebates and the refunds will be $130 million. And most of the right fees refunds will be coming from MLB teams per Broadcasting and Cable magazine. Cahill figures that Diamond Sports LLC pays about $1.9 billion in sports rights, 62% of those going to baseball teams. Diamond will get no money back from the NHL teams, minimal money from the NBA teams, and a good chunk for baseball teams, which are playing just 60 games in this shortened season, fewer than the 142 games they promised to MVPDs. In total, Cahill estimates Sinclair and their sports company, Diamond Sports, will get back $693 million of the $1.9 billion in sports rights. According to Cahill, only the largest distributors get rebates from Diamond's networks, which will deliver about 64% of the games they contracted for, resulting in an $823 million rebate to the MVPDs. That leaves Sinclair and Diamond out $130 million. Now, the $693 million rights fees from, the $693 million refund from teams is roughly 36% of what Sinclair reportedly pays in rights fees. If you crack the math down a bit more, in normal years, Sinclair would pay around $1.178 billion to MLB teams for their TV rights. If the teams are getting paid around 42% of those rights fees in 2020, that comes out to roughly $498 million, a shortfall of $680 million on the $1.178 billion paid out in a normal year. Subtract that from the expected $693 million refund, and you get just $13 million expected to be refunded by NBA teams. By estimation, 17 teams, including the Nets on Yes, air on Sinclair's regional sports networks, meaning that the average hit to the NBA teams will be less than $1 million each. Calculating the average hit to MLB teams isn't all that helpful because of the disparities in rights fees for the various teams airing on the former Fox regional sports networks. For example, Kansas City Royals make between $48 and $52 million a year, while the California Angels, Orange County, California, are almost halfway through a 20-year deal worth an average of $150 million per year. But it's safe to say they'll all be losing more than half of their share of local money this year. As for the rebates to carriers and seemingly to we the customers, you should probably temper your enthusiasm. According to Lachman Research, there were around 86 million pay TV subscribers at the end of 2019. All those subscribers don't receive the Sinclair RSNs on their package, most notably Dish and its roughly 12 million subscribers between its satellite service and Sling. But even if all the reported $823 million in rebates went directly to all customers, they won't. That'd be a credit of less than $10 per customer if you assume that only 40 million of those customers receive a Sinclair RSN on their cable package. A direct refund to those customers would run a little over $20. Now, that's all well and good until you remember that the carriage fees for those local RSNs are huge. Yes Network alone runs a reported $6.74 a month. And while that's on the high end of things, subscribers typically are paying less than $3 a month for the regional networks, along with a regional sports fee, which could run some cool $10 on their latest cable bill, even if you got $20 back. There were 4 full months without live sports, and that refund would cover less than 2 months of what was paid, assuming they got a cash credit, as opposed to an in-kind refund, which was bandied about by Comcast earlier this year. Who wants free Peacock streaming service, ad-free subs for everyone? Now, the overall conclusion with these various refunds is that a lot of money is going to be flowing around from teams to Sinclair, from Sinclair to carriers. But if cash does flow from carriers to subscribers, it's not going to be a significant amount. That absolutely stinks, but we shouldn't have expected anything more. And that is the truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, time now to play a little fast headlines. And we want to say Hello, you, and welcome to Julie Donaldson. Now you wonder who she is? Well, get this. According to NBC Sports Washington, anchor Julie Donaldson is set to become the lead radio voice for Washington's NFL team. She would become the first woman to hold that job for an entire NFL franchise, and she will also reportedly receive a high-level organizational title and work as host and in other capacities from NBC Sports Washington. Yay. She will be the first one to be a regular member of an NFL team's radio broadcast booth, according to Westwood One, by the way. Donaldson will essentially replace Larry Michael, the team's longtime radio voice, who abruptly retired last weekend before being named in the Washington Post report on rampant sexual harassment within the Washington organization. Donaldson, though, has a lengthy career in broadcasting and has hosted NBC Sports Washington's pregame and postgame shows, as well as 3 Olympics for the NBC network. She also hosted NBC Sports Washington's Big 20 series earlier this year. She previously hosted NBC Sports Washington's live Washington Wizards Game Day show, was an anchor for NBC Sports Washington news, analyst, and entertainment shows, including Sportsnet Central, Training Camp Daily, and Football Central. She's also worked 3 Olympic assignments for NBC Sports as news desk host in Sochi in 2014, Rio in 2016, and Pyeongchang in 2018, has regularly served as weekend sports desk host for NBC Sports national coverage. Congratulations and applause for thee. Yay, applause. Do we have our applause? Thank you. That was a nice little short applause. Speaking of which, hey, another little sports to-do comes back. It's the NHL, and NBCSN will show 23 NHL games between August 1st and August 5th, but that's, yes, that is with some bod knots, including games subject to regional blackouts and with some games joined in progression. Remember, these games also, no fans. The NHL's return to play let's try again. The NHL's return to play plans are continuing with games set to begin in hub cities Edmonton and Toronto later this month. Exhibition games will start in the last week of July, and then qualification and round-robin seeding for already qualified team rounds will begin August 1st. And in the U.S., NBC and its affiliate cable channels, NBCSN, the USA Network, will show every postseason game through August 5th, the last date before the if necessaries kick in, albeit some games will be joined in progress and with some regional blackouts for games also carried on their local regional sports networks. Some of those games will be on NBCSN, which will also show 4 exhibition games on July 28th and 29th, and NBCSN is also expected to carry most of the games post-August 5th, even though that full schedule isn't set yet, thanks to the if necessary games. And the joined in progress games will be visible in full on the NHL Network as per a league release that also details the Canadian schedule. But apart from that, let's tell you the NBC national schedule through August 5th. On Tuesday, July 28th, Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia, NBCSN, 4 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, July 29th is a triple header. That starts off with Carolina versus Washington on NBCSN at 4, Chicago versus St. Louis on NBCSN at 6:30, and the Rangers versus the Islanders on NBCSN at 8 p.m. Now, all times Eastern, by the way. Now, Saturday, August 1st, Game 1, Carolina versus New York Rangers, NBCSN at noon. Game 2, it's Chicago versus Edmonton on NBC at 3. Florida versus the Islanders in Game 1 on NBCSN at 4. Montreal versus Pittsburgh on NBC at 8. Winnipeg versus Calgary on NBCSN at 10:30 p.m. Arizona versus Nashville will be on the USA Network at 2 p.m. That's Sunday I'm doing now, Sunday, August 2nd. Game 1, Arizona versus Nashville, USA Network at 2. The round robin will be Boston versus Philadelphia, NBC at 3. Another round robin will be St. Louis versus Colorado, NBCSN at 6:30. Game 1, Columbus versus Toronto, NBCSN at 8. Game 1, Minnesota versus Vancouver, NBCSN at 10:30. Monday, August 3rd, Game 2, Carolina versus the Rangers, NBCSN at noon. Game 2, Winnipeg versus Calgary, NBCSN 2:30. Round robin game, Washington versus Tampa Bay, NBCSN at 4. Another round robin, Dallas versus Vegas, NBCSN 6:30. Game 2, Montreal versus Pittsburgh, NBCSN at 8. And Game 2, Chicago versus Edmonton, NBCSN at 10:30 p.m. Tuesday, August 4th, will be Game 2, Florida versus the Islanders, NBCSN at noon. Game 2, Arizona, Nashville, NBCSN at 2:30. Game 2, Columbus versus Toronto, NBCSN at 4. Game 3, Winnipeg versus Calgary, NBCSN at 6:30. Game 3, Carolina versus the Rangers, NBCSN at 8. Game 2, Minnesota versus Vancouver on the USA Network at 10:30. Wednesday, August 5th, Game 3, Florida versus the Islanders on NBCSN at noon. Game 3, Arizona versus Nashville, NBCSN at 2:30. Round robin game, Tampa Bay versus Boston, NBCSN at 4. Another round robin of Colorado versus Dallas, NBCSN at 6:30. Game 3, Montreal versus Pittsburgh, NBCSN at 8. And Chicago versus Edmonton, Game 3, NBCSN at 10:30. And games that are airing on NBC are exclusive. All games on NBC and the USA Network will be blacked out in the local markets as they will be available on viewers' local regional sports networks. Blackout rules applying to the streaming coverage on NBCSports.com and the NBC Sports app. Some games joined in progress. Now, this is somewhat similar to what we've seen in the early rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs, but one change here is that there's less usage of the rest of NBC Universal's networks. The regular playoffs have often seen some games pushed to USA, MSNBC, CNBC, or the Golf Channel, but this time it's pretty much all NBCSN for this week of action with 3 weekend games on NBC Network and then 2 games on USA. However, it's also interesting that this seems to be a step back in terms of regional blackouts. In the past few years, NBC was able to make its national feed available in most markets for the first couple of playoff rounds, alongside local coverage on the RSNs. Now that national feed won't be available thanks to these blackouts, so if you live in a market where games are shown on your regional sports network, you'll be able to access that RSN. What will you need to watch these games? Well, NBCSN is on most cable or satellite packages, and as of the evaluation, it was also available on all of AT&T, TV Now, YouTube TV, Sling TV, and Hulu Plus Live TV. It's also available on Fubo TV. Now, watching full games that start on NHL Network may be harder. NHL Network is available on Fubo TV in some Sling packages and in some top-tier AT&T TV Now packages, but it isn't on YouTube TV or Hulu Plus Live TV. And there are plenty of cable satellite packages that don't include it, but if you're fine with games being joined in progress after other games finish, NBCSN, USA, and NBC will cover you from a national perspective. But if you're a fan of a particular team from the area you live in, getting around the RSN blackout may be trickier. And that's especially true through a streaming bundle available. Those RSNs often goes market by market and bundle by bundle. So, to sum it all up, good luck on NBCSN and everyone else. By the way, sorry, Canada. And, Rogers' big old NHL contract for the Canadian broadcast rights seem to have gone out the window as their coverage will be supplanted and produced by NBC. Hockey Night in Canada and NBC property. Oh boy, that does not fit. It does not. Okay, group. Damn, we've only got a minute left. Are you kidding me? We're going 10 more minutes. Give us 10 more minutes, kids. Because we got to do scores. We got a scoreboard to do. And if that is not enough, we got something else. We got shout outs. So here we go. Low 10 minutes more. Okay, I'll put the rest of this up. I need that. And that's no caffeine mug root beer, too. What? That's my mom, folks. Ricky's at work already. We don't have to pick him up till tomorrow morning. We leave at 6:30 a.m. Pick him up at 7. Okay? Grazie. All right. In other words, we're staying home. Anyway, I love my mom. She's an okay person. Anyway, let's get to it before it changes because in 3 minutes it becomes midnight. In the Premier League, Manchester City over Watford 4-0. Aston Villa over Arsenal 1-0. In Italy, Serie A, Atalanta over Bologna 1-0 and Milan over Sassuolo 2-1. Let's give you some of the action of the club friendlies. Rodina Moscow and Tiver tied at 1. Lens over Ghent tied at 1. Lokomotiv Kazanka over Moscow 4-3. RWDM over Warzim 3-1. Chernomorets Novorossiysk blanks Tuapes 5-0. The rest you can figure out and see for yourself because time limitations. We can't go through them all. The club friendlies you can find on scoreboard.com/EN. In baseball, Japan in the NPB, it was the Yomiuri Giants blanking the Chunichi Dragons 4-0, 4-10-1 for the Giants, 0-3-0 for the Dragons. Yamamoto for the Dragons picks up his third loss in 4 starts. He's only won 1 game. Sugano for the Giants picks up his 4th win with no losses. That is huge. The Nippon Ham Fighters chew up the Fukuoka Silverhawks 2-1, 2-7-0 for the Ham Fighters, 1-7-1 for the Silverhawks. Senga for the Silverhawks picks up his first loss. He's 2-1. Seguria for the Ham Fighters is also 2-1. He picked up his second win. The Hanshin Tigers over the Hiroshima Carp 9-4, 9-10-0 for the Tigers, 4-9-0 for the Carp. Akiyama for the Tigers picks up his second win in 3 starts. He's 2-1. Curry lost a little of that heat in the loss to the Carp. In the loss by the Carp, he's 1-2. York Buffaloes tamed the Rakuten Golden Eagles 10-3, 10-14-1 for the Buffaloes, 3-7-1 for the Golden Eagles. Ishibashi for Rakuten picks up a loss. He's 1-4. Albers picks up the win. He's split it 2-2. Cebu Lions over the Chibalati Marins 8-3, 8-9-0 for the Lions. The Marins 3-9-1. Imai for the Lions picks up his win. He's 2-3. Mima picks up his second loss. They split it. He's 2-2. Haha. And let's go back to where we were. I caught you little bugs. And welcome here to the East Coast to Wednesday night. In the West Coast, it's still Monday night. The Yakult Swallows defeated the Yokohama Bay Stars 6-4, 6-7-0 Swallows, 4-10-0 Bay Stars. Peoples for the Bay Stars gets a loss. He's 0-1. Hara for the Swallows gets the win. He's 1-0. In Major League Baseball action, nothing happened. But in the preseason, a lot happened. That's right. Let's go to it. The Houston Astros beat the Kansas City Royals in preseason action, 15-6, 15-17-0 for the Astros, 6-8-1 for the Royals. Washington Nationals, World Series defending champs, defeated the Baltimore Orioles in 7 games, in 7 innings, 6-4. 6-7-0 for the Nats, 4-10-2 for the Orioles. Cincinnati Reds lummoxed the Detroit Tigers 9-7. 9-8-1 for the Reds, 7-0 for the Tigers. The Atlanta Braves squeaked out a win by beating the Miami Marlins by 10-9. 10-11-0 for the Braves, 9-14-1 for the Marlins. Toronto Blue Jays beat up on the Boston Red Sox 8-6, 8-10-1 for the Jays, 6-8-1 for the Red Sox. Colorado Rockies beat the Texas Rangers 5-1, 5-0-1. We'll just give you the score, 5-1. Right now in the 7th inning, 2 games still needing to be complete. The Battle of Los Angeles, the Dodgers over the California Angels, 5-4. And San Francisco Giants are leading the Oakland Athletics 4-2. In the Nicaragua CNBS playoffs, 9th inning, Santos leads the Esteli by a score of 4-3. In South Korean baseball. Here's the scores. Doosan Bears over the Kaiwoon Heroes 6-1, 6-7-0 Bears, 1-9-0 for the Heroes. Kia Tigers over the Hanwha Eagles 10-2, 10-16-0 Tigers, 2-3-3 Eagles. KT Wiz Swan beat up on the LG Twins 10-9, 10-12-1 Swan, 9-13-0 Twins. NC Dinos over the Samsung Lions 6-5, 6-13-0 in extra innings, by the way, 6-13-0 for Dinos, 5-9-0 for the Samsung Lions. And the SK Wyverns over the Lottie Giants 8-7, 8-12-0 for the Wyverns, 7-10-0 for Les Giants, or Giants if you are down south. And the CPBL minor league in Taiwan, the the China Trust Brothers sequel beat up the Rakuten Monkey sequel 5-0, 5-8-0 for the Brothers, 0-8-0 for the Monkeys. The Weichan Dragons snapped it up with the Uni Lions 10-4, 10-13-0 for the Dragons, 4-8-3 for the Uni Lions. And that is a look at the scoreboard. Okay, whoa, hi there. Hi there. Is anyone here? Yes, there is. Okay, hi there, everybody. Let's go to it. Oops. Put that up there, please. Okay. Put-a-bing. Put-a-bing. There we go. There we go. And there we go. All right. Gotta say hello to Ricky Pickrell, Yvonne Pickrell, Tony Pickrell, Michael Pickrell. We also say hi and hello to Angela Peterson, Christina Peterson, Jay the Brain Man, Anne Marie Man. We also say brilliant hello to Alabama Cole, Annette Onulwicz, Bentley Gubar, Bobby Strauss, Brian Mann, Chris Lewis, Chris French, Danielle Wilcox Graves, Donna Payne, Deborah Hilliker, Jared Draper, Jeff Rollo, Kimberly Butler, Crystal Hart, Christina, I've already mentioned her, Mark Wilson, Flannery, Pamela Anderson, Hunter, Panda Yen, Pega Ian Bies, Phil Monahan, Rebecca, Nicole Pettix, Regina Lewis, Rihanna Johnson, Regal Flores, Roman Ronan, Sarah Baxley Grand, Mr. Stephen Rivera. Of course, Jeff Rollo, Marley Wiley, George Templeton, Blind Lemon, and Mr. and Mrs. Nellie K9. We also say hello to Claudia Treos, January J. Keaton, and Little Dixie. We also say hello And the unit to Brenda Dixon, who, if you didn't see Monday, Young and Restless, CBS aired a classic, very good classic. It was the first episode of the Young and the Restless, featuring a beautiful, equally charming Miss Brenda Dixon, who still looks beautiful and equally charming. Also, we want to say a big hello. How big of a hello? How big? How big a hello, you may ask? Well, I'm telling you how big a hello, I may ask. A very big hello. Hi! That's about it for there. Okay, Twitter, we say, okay, let's also say hi to Claudia Treos, Samantha Phillips, Samantha O'Neill, Casey Ann, Monica Cram, Gary Cram. Okay, let's hurry this little boat up because we should. Anyway, we say also greetings and a chartreuse hi there to our friends from Twitter. And they are some good friends, some good people. Stacy Hayes, we say hello to Amy Hayes, Morris Hayes, to Frida Hayes. We say greetings to Audrey Dahlgren, Alex Sims, Nick Mantis, and all my friends over there, WLNS TV6. Marielle Lou, get well, please. Love ya. Love you all. Kellyanne Collins, how do you do? To you and yours. And yes, friends, we say hello to all. Excuse me. To Mandy Summers, Beth McLeod, Wyatt Holiday, Peter Gilmore, Lena Gwynn, Ivy McKellen, Ali Hoxie, of course, Rebecca, and Mia St. John. And if she goes back in the boxing like I think she is, I want to see Amy Hayes be the ring announcer. That'll be two legends. Two legends. Pete Oeda, Luisa Fernanda, The Real Deal, Linda Steele. We say hello to Angela Box. We also say a big old-fashioned hello to Miss Kathy Lennox. Huh? How are you? And a few other folks, nice folks indeed, Miss Casey Lennox. Also want to say a quick hello to Siobhan Klepfer. Hi. Erica Renee Davis. Hello. LeBron Hickman. Eric Kostra. And all my friends and Sean Bros. Joey Peggs. And Charlie's London. And to Fizzy. And that, my friends, is it to all my friends on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Hi, how are you? And I'm glad you're here. Thank you all very much for watching, for chatting. Oh, I did forget three other folks. Want to thank Matthew Nichols, Jerry Nichols, Nancy Nichols as well. Yeah, I think I got everyone. So to everyone, I bid you all a very pleasant and fun night. A great sleep. Good morning here in the East. Good night to the West. And to the rest of you, have a good one. Thank you. That's it for us. I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley. This has been a presentation of Mystifying Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports. For all of us here at the L2C Sports Final, here at the Fred McLeod Sports Desk at the Tom O'Neill Studios, I am Steve Baxley saying to all, may your favorite team always come out winners. And good night, America, wherever and whomever you may be. We'll see you tomorrow in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. There we are. Oops. Let's try that again. Thank you. Good night.